Can you hear me, Danny?
Yes,
Awesome.
I think my phone's slanted. I'll fix that here.
Okay, no problem.
I believe this is better.
Perfect. How's your day going?
Great, now that I finally figured this out.
It's an ongoing battle with technology, eh?
Yes, for sure.
Yeah. All right. So I was thinking we could just start, and you could just tell us a little bit about yourself and kind of where you come from and what you do for the field and everything like that.
Okay, well, my name's Danny Pettry. I live in West Virginia. I have two jobs. I work full-time as a practitioner at a psychiatric hospital. Next year will make 20 years with one facility.
Wow.
My second job is operating rec therapy today. I see you have the t-shirt or the
Ew,
sweater.
I thought I would wear it for the video. It's good
That
stuff.
is, that is great. I'm so happy you're wearing that.
Yeah.
And rec therapy today will turn 15 years in next year. What is that, 2022? So yeah, I
That's
like coffee and books and people.
nice. That's a good combination. Good stuff. We love some coffee. When did you, I guess that answers my next question then is when did you get involved with recreation therapy?
I discovered rec therapy by accident. I think a lot of us had
Yeah.
a similar accident, like a discovery. So I'll go back in time to 1999. I was dating this woman, I guess. Not, we were 19. And really, she was, how do I put it nicely? I wasn't like in love with her. So she broke up with me. She knew it. And I was attending a local college, and they required 40 hours of volunteer work to get admitted into the nursing degree program. So I had this full week that I was going to spend with her. Now I have a full week. I thought, you know what? I'll just get the 40 hours completed and over with. It was at a rehabilitation hospital. Most people were in pain and suffering there because they've had strokes or traumatic brain injury or some disability, some type of disabling condition. And I mostly pushed people in wheelchairs, and I learned really fast I was not going to be a good nurse. It was not my heart and passion.
Yeah.
They were busy. So I transported patients, I got their coffee, and on the second day, I heard laughter coming from this back room, and I was like, well, that's got my interest. And that's where I discovered rec therapy. They did uh, cognitive groups to help people, get their mind working again, and they had relaxation groups, and they had wheelchair gardening. They had these boxes outside that you could garden in a wheelchair. I assisted with the 4th of July cookout, and from then on, I've been in rec therapy. So that's been since 1999, I suppose.
That's awesome. Yeah, I feel like a lot of us kind of accidentally stumble on rec therapy without really the intention of, pursuing that kind of career. Personally, for me, I was working at a laser tag arena, and we had a group that came in that often worked with kids with autism, and I ended up kind of uh, in conversation with them, talking about what they did, and then I ended up actually volunteering with them and then going to school for rec therapy and then eventually getting my job at an adult day program. So yeah, I feel like a lot of us kind of stumble onto it without really the, with ever knowing it. So that's awesome. Good for you. I was hoping that you could explain a little bit about CEUs and why they're important, and also what they are. To everyone and to myself as well, because I actually have a few questions about that.
Sure, I'm happy to answer. So the CEU is short for Continuing Education Unit. They're difficult to measure, so I usually tell people just count clock hours. NCTRC requires 50 clock hours in 5 years. Of course, as a disclaimer, always contact NCTRC for official information. I will describe the CEU as what we were talking about earlier with technology. Let's imagine if we had a computer from 1985 and we tried to use it in today's world of 2021, the computer's not going to really work that well, if at all. I don't even know if a 1985 Apple could even connect to the internet. So sometimes we have to just upgrade to stay relevant. Or we could use another profession like medical doctors. Imagine if someone earned their MD in 1975. That was before I was born, and they're still practicing, but they never received any additional training. Of course, we know there's a lot more advanced updates in medicine. We had hoped somebody would have the most relevant information. So the CEU was pretty much communicating that we've continued our education and we're staying relevant in the field.
Mm-hmm.
And those who have the CTR's credential are required to keep up with our profession. There are some rec therapists out there who are not certified, and some states don't require a license. So those practitioners, they never have to update their education, which is kind of, I think it's an unethical thing to do to the people and patients who we provide services for. I think it's just the right thing to continue to grow and learn and be the best we can be. Any other questions on the CEU?
I mean, we live in Canada, so it's a little bit different here. But as a student that is just recently going into university, are CEUs something that you're supposed to do postgraduate, or is that something that you can do while you're in school as well?
That is a very good question.
I don't
Let's
know
see.
if it's different across Canada and the US, but I just thought I would ask.
I think this answer will be great for both countries. I will share that if you're a college student, you don't have to earn CEUs because you're in college earning your degree.
Mm-hmm.
And let's say if you already have your certification through NCTRC and you're already a CTRS, you need to earn those CEUs to maintain your certification.
Mm-hmm.
Now, a person could take a college course and earn a lot of CEU credit. I'm not sure how it translates. I'm thinking it's like 45 clock hours for a 3-hour clock or for a 3 credit hour college course. So it would take up about 45 out of 50. Now, an undergraduate student wouldn't really need those CEUs because they're still working on their education.
Right.
However, I'm going to give a real big suggestion. If you're an undergraduate student and you attend a conference, they're going to say, you're a student, you don't need CEUs, which is true. I would say you might want to go ahead and get the CEUs to have a transcript of the trainings you attended. For example, if you attended a track on behavioral health or physical rehab or child life, and you apply for a job and you're just fresh out of school, you can say, I've also got this transcript as proof that I attended this recent conference. So in that way, I would say, yes, a student probably would benefit from getting the CEU, but it's not required for them because they're not certified yet.
That would be
I
really
hope
good
that's good.
anyways, though, to just keep up with your learning even if you're in school and everything, right?
Yeah, and it'll be just nice to have that certificate of completion or transcript.
Yeah.
So most students I've seen don't get the CEUs because they've been told it's not needed, which it's not. But I think it'd be really good to be able to have that for a job interview.
Yeah, definitely. That's a great tip. What is your favorite part about what you do?
Well, it's I work with children and teens, and they often struggle with, abuse, reactive issues, and addictions. And if we help one kid to turn their life around, then that's really the best pleasure to see a kid just make changes and live healthier ways. I will share that, where I've worked at the hospital for a long time, we had this one girl, she was maybe 11 or 12, and of course she hated us and talked to us bad, that she didn't want to be in the facility. And, without breaking any confidentiality, this girl ended up getting pregnant as a teenager. So when she was about 18, no, she's probably 19, I think, she brought her own child right back to our hospital. And I did the intake as an intern, and I also have a degree in counseling. I did the intake, and I was just thinking, I remember this kid, and I remember how much she hated us and all the mean things she said, yet she feels safe enough to bring her child right to us. Mm-hmm. So I thought that was kind of interesting when you have things like that.
That's amazing. Yeah. You always make an impact even if you don't even really see it at the time, right? That's awesome.
It's a lot like the starfish story. Have you heard of it?
No, I don't think so.
All these starfish are washed up on the beach. This little girl's throwing them back in the ocean to save their lives. Some old man says, you're wasting your time. You can't save them all. and the little girl throws another starfish in and said, what made a difference to this starfish? It's going to survive. So
Right.
that's kind of what we're doing. We
Yeah.
might not be able to help hundreds, but if we could just save one, that's kind of the benefit of our work.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. For sure. That's a great story as well. What would you say is the most challenging part about either what you do or having your own business with rec therapy today?
Let's see. The challenging part at work is when our kids become aggressive. A lot of people aren't cut out for our kind of work. They hit, bite, scream, scratch. The bigger teenagers do that as well. So that's challenging. I will share with my business, it's really just grown to be a monster that sometimes is out of hand if I have hundreds of emails coming in a day. But it's a hobby. I enjoy it.
Yeah. Is it just you working with rec therapy today, or do you have a team associated with that as well?
Well, I have people that help with the business and do different parts, but it's mostly me.
Okay. Okay. And what this is off the list here, but what inspired you to get involved with CEU credits and get started with rec therapy today?
That's a fair question. I was in graduate school in 2004 at Indiana University. I
Mhm.
had earned my master's degree in rec therapy, and I won the Peg Conley Student Scholarship. They paid for people to attend the conference. Peg Conley was the first president of ATRA and an executive director of NCTRC. So this was shortly after 9/11, a few years. I
Um,
was still afraid to fly. So I drove from my little town, which is Huntington, West Virginia. It's right on the border of Ohio and Kentucky. And I drove to Kansas City. I can't remember how many hours that was, but it was about 14 hours. And I thought, there's got to be an easier way. So when I opened my business, Rec Therapy Today, which was formerly my name, DannyPettry.com, which people don't remember too well, there wasn't any online learning at the time. It was really a pioneer in the direction of online CEUs. I'd reached out to Actor at the time and told them about my idea. And at the time, the board was like, that's really not the direction we're going to go in. So I just started my own program, and it just made it convenient for people to do self-study if they aren't able to attend a conference, especially if you're in a place, I imagine, I don't want to assume, I know you're in Canada, but here in West Virginia, we're not going to have a national conference come to this state. It's just not going to happen.
right. Yeah. No, I feel like everything has moved so far in the direction of being online that it's quite humorous actually that they, at the time said no, that's not the direction that things are going. And I mean, look at the reality of rec therapy right now. Everything is virtual per se, right? So that's awesome. Yeah, it's definitely makes being a student and looking for those CEU credits so much easier, right? So that's awesome.
None of us could have none of us could have predicted 2020.
No.
And last year, my business, that was the most successful year because so many conferences across the United States and Canada were closed,
Yeah.
state and local, even at hospitals. And my business was at the right place at the right time.
Yeah.
Of course, I'm a big advocate for conferences. You'll see me at many of the ATRA conferences.
Mhm. Yeah, that's awesome. It was great that you were able to benefit from that then. I think a lot of services that we're able to offer online programming and things like that have really done well this year. But yeah, it's a harsh reality for us folks that can't do online rec therapy, though. Technology has been a challenge this year, that's for sure. Um, how has COVID changed your everyday routine or your schedule, if at all? I know it's different in the US than it is in Ontario right now.
Let's see. At our hospital, of course, we wear face masks. If anyone on the unit has it, we quarantine the units where staff don't go from unit to unit.
Mhm.
We've had patients with COVID in our hospital. I can't believe I didn't catch it. Of course, I wear the mask, and we also have like a face shield and outfits and everything. So an N95 mask is worn, and we haven't allowed visits for our patients in over a year now. We just allow visits again, and it can be either in our outside area or in one of the assessment rooms at the front desk.
Mhm.
So it's The hardest part is for the patients. We have offered Zoom sessions. However, that's just not the same as being able to see people.
No, for
And
sure.
with my, so it's mostly been hard at the hospital. With my personal business, it's been difficult because I've just had so many customers and I want to provide the best service. So I would say those are the big difficulties.
Right. So are you able to run group programs then at the hospital?
Yeah, we're still running our programs.
Okay.
We're still able to take our kids to, we have a gym, a fresh air area, a recreation room, arts and crafts rooms, library, piano room. We're still able to get our kids to a lot of sessions.
Mhm. So how many patients can you have per each activity at a time?
Oh, that's a good question. I know we had state guidelines there for a while.
Mhm.
Right now, all of our patients are able to attend. On the children's unit, we have 12 patients, and oh, hold on, it's up to 15 patients now. And then on the teenage unit, we can have 13 patients, but we haven't had 13 in a while.
Wow. Yeah, way different than here in Ontario. We're completely on lockdown now, so our there's some adult day programs that are open, but yeah, definitely very different than that. So that's good that you were able to still make the impactful work, right?
The one
What?
part we
Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to briefly share the one part that we haven't been able to do is the community reentry outings that
Okay.
we provide to help our kids get out back into public. That's really been the only area. They can take a car ride, but they can't really get out anywhere. So,
Yeah, hopefully it's all over soon. You guys are able to do that again because I bet that was really beneficial before.
yeah.
Yeah, just being able to get out, right? Yeah, that's awesome. What is one fun fact about you that not very many people know?
Oh, that's a good question. I'm glad you sent it to me beforehand, or I would not have thought of an answer. I'll briefly share them.
Go for
A
it.
fun fact is I have learning disabilities. I have a central auditory processing disorder. And when I was a child, I also had speech therapy because I couldn't say the consonant R. My tiger sounded like Tagore. And it
No.
was held in the special, my speech therapy and reading classes were in the special education room. So there's a lot of stigma with that. So that's a fun fact. Let's see if I put some other things that I wanted to share.
I did see a YouTube video of you actually. I forget who it was with, but you were showcasing the different books that you had written. And I thought that was really, really neat.
Oh yeah, that's another fun fact that I write books.
Yeah.
My most popular children's book's called I Can Do Anything If I Put My Mind to It. It's really to encourage young children to set goals, try, practice, get feedback, continue doing dedication and persistence and not giving up. And
That's
then I
awesome.
guess
Yeah.
the second fun fact is we've already shared I run rec therapy today for online continuing education courses.
Hmm. Yeah, that's awesome. I did have a couple of unexpected questions, so I apologize in advance.
That is
Just a few questions from different followers. The
great.
first one is from Bev, and she wants to know what you think the average lifespan of a recreation therapist is, in your opinion.
Oh man, that's a good question.
I
I
know.
will share in my 20 years of working, I could probably name 60 rec therapists who have came through our hospital. Of course, we have a lot of programs and units. At one time, me and a coworker used that to get a raise where we wrote a list of like 40 employees who had left and went to other hospitals.
Hmm.
But average lifespan, some rec therapists, they don't want to be a practitioner all their life. I've seen them go into other positions, like at our hospital, someone went into marketing and management, consulting. I suppose it varies for people.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I'm a pretty firm believer that you never really retire as a recreation therapist. I think that even throughout your life and after you leave your position for the rest of your life, you're still finding ways to celebrate events and find leisure experiences for other people, right? So yeah, it was a good question. Um, Justin wanted to know what has been your biggest challenge as a recreation therapist. I don't know if we went over that one, but
Briefly, I'll share working with kids or teens who are aggressive and not ready to change. Another one is just really advocating for what we do in rec therapy, getting our rec therapy name brand out to the world.
Yeah. Yeah. I
People
think,
outside of our profession don't know who we are or what we do.
yeah, we're just the play people, right? It's
Yeah.
the advocacy never ends, that's for sure. Michelle wanted to know what advice can you give to an aspiring TR entrepreneur or a private practitioner?
That's a good question. I suppose it determines what type of private practice it is. You've got to find your passion once you start a business. You're going to be married to it, so make sure it's something you really love. Also, make sure it's fundable. I mean, it's businesses have to make money, and you can't go in losing money. So
Right.
make sure you can get funded. Personally, I would share go into information products. Let's say if you do a private practice with people, one contact hour, you get billed for whatever it costs, and then you have to do another hour. Where if you're doing information products, you could spend 1 hour creating a great product. You're not going to get paid anything for that hour, yet you can sell that product over and over and over again as either a workbook or a course or a training. So that's my advice, information products.
The
Write a
product
book.
sells itself, right? Yeah, that's awesome. I think there was one other question up here. Can you tell us tools that you use to overcome the lack of meetings in person with patients in need?
Really, we've just used Zoom at our hospital. And of course, people can always use the telephone. We provide numbers for like anytime a patient discharges, suicide hotlines, and we do suicide assessments before they discharge. So we provide a lot of those kind of resources.
Hmm. That's awesome. Yeah, I know. Speaking from experience, we come from an adult day program with seniors and older adults that don't have access to technology, and unfortunately are coming from a lower income area, so they don't have the funds for it at all. So it's been a challenge trying to program with them. So we've been programming over the phone, but like you said, that face-to-face aspect makes a really, really big difference in their experience. And likewise, like you said as well, sometimes that Zoom connection isn't enough either. They need that face to face. So it's been a really long year for a lot of them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We even have our teenagers do written letters to family. I mean, we send those out as well.
that's a great idea. Yeah, like a pen pal program, right?
Yes, and we have the teenage unit and the little kids unit, which I both work on. Of course, we have other programs. So
Hmm.
some of the little kids don't have anyone except a state assigned DHHR worker. That's Department of Health and Human Resources here. So
Hmm.
we'll have the teenagers write a letter to the younger kids, keeping it confidential, just saying, "Hey, I'm a teenager that cares," and then the little kids write a letter to the teenager. So they kind of have pen pals inside the hospital, but they don't really know who they're from.
Right, right. That's awesome. That's a really good idea. That's
So
awesome.
that kind of helps build some social support.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Um, is there any other comments or questions or things that you wanted to say about what you do or anything rec therapy related?
Well, I thought of another fun fact I thought I'd share with you that my grandfather was from Canada. I've never been to Canada. He fought in World War II for the United States Army, and he always said it's not fair that he couldn't run for president because he was born in Canada and he fought for the U.S. Army in World War II. Okay, and for rec therapy, we're a profession of good-hearted folks and people, and the profession's just going to grow from here. And I'm here if people want to email me on what is this, Instagram or through Rec Therapy Today. I'm happy to answer questions. And if there's anything I can do for you, you let me know. Thanks so much for having me.
Awesome. Thanks for being on, Danny. Appreciate it.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Take care and thank you everyone for joining in. Have a great night.
Bye.
Bye.